Hello, I'm CJ Werleman, and in this episode, we reveal how 2 billion Muslims are rising as one ummah and one unified force against the State of Israel. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show. Now let's get into it. Calls for military intervention against Israel continue to grow in the Muslim world, as huge protests sweep Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Turkey over the weekend, with more than 100,000 protesters gathering in the Bangladeshi capital on Saturday, where they waved flags and posters while chanting "Stop Israeli Aggression, Boycott Israeli Products, and Free Palestine from the River to the Sea." But most of all, these global protests were inspired by senior Islamic scholars issuing a fatwa demanding military action from Muslim-majority countries to save Gaza from genocide. Make no mistake, the sight of Muslims marching in the streets of Dhaka, Istanbul and Lahore over the weekend is tantamount to 2 billion Muslims answering that call. They're answering that call because they have had enough of waiting for their political leaders to do something or anything. Their frustration is why they rightly accuse Arab leaders of being Zionist puppets. It's why they threw shoes at images of Netanyahu and Trump, and it's why 170 million Bangladeshi Muslims delivered an unmistakable message to Israel and the United States.
من بنغلاديش إلى حكام العرب إن كنتم تخافون آباءكم في أمريكا وإسرائيل افتحوا لنا الحدود وانظروا قتالنا لتحرير فلسطين يا كلاب الغرب إن كنتم تريدون رضاهم فاعلموا أنهم لن يرضوا منكم أبدا من بنغلاديش إلى أهل غزة ورجال المقاومة الباصلة أنتم في قلوبنا ثابتون صامدون وإننا المسلمون في بنغلاديش نتألم لألمكم ونحزن لحزنكم وقريبا بإذن الله تعالى سنحرر الأقصى وأرضه.
The Bangladeshi government responded by renewing the Accept Israel clause in its passports, meaning Bangladeshi citizens are banned from visiting the Jewish state because the Muslim-majority country is united behind boycotting Israel, as perfectly stated by a 9-year-old girl in Dhaka on Saturday. On Friday, millions of Pakistanis participated in a nationwide rally in support of Palestine. From Islamabad to Lahore, Pakistanis implored their government to do more towards ending the slaughter in Gaza. They demanded the United States enforce an immediate ceasefire and demanded a global boycott of Israeli products.
और अवामी सतह पे भी इन रैलीज को मुनज़्ज़म करना होगा, यही उम्मत को जगाने के लिए और अपने हुक्मरानों पे दबाव डालने के लिए और अमेरिका को पूरी दुनिया के सामने बेनकाब करने के लिए कि वो दहशतगर्दी का सबसे बड़ा मरकज़ बना हुआ है। अमेरिका अगर दहशतगर्द जहन ख़त्म कर दे तो इसराइल जंगबंदी पर मजबूर हो जाएगा.
Pakistanis are not only rising against Israel, but also their own corrupt and nefarious government, which they rightly view to be a puppet of the United States. Which explains why Pakistani protesters are not rallying behind their political leaders, but behind their religious leaders, who are now calling for military intervention to save Palestinians from further genocide, as declared by Pakistan's Grand Mufti on Thursday.
हमने अपनी हुकूमतों से खुलकर ये मुतालबा अब तक नहीं किया कि आज आपके ऊपर जिहाद फर्ज हो चुका है. सारी इस्लामी हुकूमतों पर जिहाद फर्ज हो चुका है. अपने हस्ब इस्तिताअत हर मुसलमान हुकूमत पर जिहाद फर्ज है.
The next day, Pakistan sent a chill down the spine of every Israeli citizen when millions of Pakistani civilians accepted the Grand Mufti's declaration of jihad. The call was clearly heard by hundreds of thousands of Turks who took to the streets of Istanbul, Ankara and other major Turkish cities on Friday. The call was clearly heard by hundreds of thousands of Turks who took to the streets of Istanbul, Ankara, and other major Turkish cities on Friday. They chanted, "Gaza is dying, stand up," and then laid away flags and shouted, "God is great," to express solidarity with a global fatwa against the Zionist state. Protesters also gathered outside Trump Tower in Istanbul to denounce US support for the ongoing Israeli genocide against Palestinians. The mood of the Turkish nation is summarized here.
Çağırdıysa sokaklara biz bugün de onu bekliyoruz. Çıkacak, çağıracak, biz teslim olacağız. Bu kadar. Öyle kukla gibi olmaz bu işler. Herkes İsrail'in kuklası olmuş. Çıkın bağırın. Gücünüz yetmiyorsa halkı çağırın. Yeter. Askeri operasyon istiyor. Nereye gideceğim? Bir salın ya. Bir bırakın şu insanları. Yoksa bu ülkede Yahudilere hiçbir şekilde güven altına alamazsınız.
Sadly, the Muslim world remains weak, insipid, and timid due to the corrupting influence of Arab Zionists who rule over the Middle East. MBZ, MBS, and CC not only quietly support the Israeli regime, but also hide behind government-sponsored religious leaders to quell calls for any meaningful action against Israel, as witnessed last week when Egypt's Grand Mufti rejected the global fatwa by calling it irresponsible. This moral cowardice in the face of Zionist aggression is what allows Israel to get away with herding Palestinians to their deaths in Gaza's killing fields.
أنا بطلب منكم لما استشهد ما حدش يصورني. لمين بتصوره؟ عشان خزان العالم يبين أكتر؟ يعني مثلا توقف الحرب مني؟ حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل، ليش ساكتين لهلا؟ ليش؟ شوف قاعدين مشاهد الموت الناس هم بنحرقوا، هم عايشين بنحرقوا متخيلين؟ كل يوم المشهد بتكرر، كل يوم، ومع هيك الكل ساكت. عالم صامت متخاذل.
This is why 2 billion Muslims are now taking matters into their own hands. They're done hoping and waiting for political or military action. Instead, the Muslim Ummah is locking arms and putting aside sectarian and ethnic divisions to deliver Israel a devastating gut punch. In India, Muslims are doing their bit for Palestine, even as they are subjected to cruelty, discrimination, and oppression at the hands of the Indian state and its Hindu nationalist supporters. In Delhi, Muslim women launched a campaign to encourage Indians to boycott companies that support the State of Israel, including Coca-Cola, Starbucks, McDonald's, and Domino's Pizza. One of their handouts boldly declares, "In using these products, you are literally drinking the blood of Palestinian children." And while it might seem like a small effort, it's important to understand that protests like this are making a huge difference, with McDonald's and Starbucks experiencing a record decline in sales due to the popularity of the Boycott Israel movement in the Muslim world. These boycotts are forcing these companies to change their policies and adopt a more favourable view towards Palestine. And while we are on the topic of India, we hold new concerns for the country's 200 million Muslims, as the Modi regime continues to chip away at the rights of religious minorities. At the centre of these fears is the recently proposed Waqf Amendment Bill, which amounts to nothing more than a cynical ploy by Hindu nationalist forces to steal land and property from Muslims. Even more sinisterly, the bill gives protection to Hindu extremists who have vowed to destroy and demolish 35,000 mosques and Islamic shrines in India and Kashmir. And when Muslims peacefully protested against the proposed anti-Islam law last week, they were attacked by Hindu mobs and shot and killed by government security forces.
Tensions have erupted once again in West Bengal as violence spreads across several border districts. What began really as a peaceful protest against the Waqf law quickly escalated into chaos, with clashes between protesters and police leaving destruction in its wake.
In one Indian state alone, the government has shut down 170 Islamic schools during the past few weeks, calling it a historic step and promising to close another 500 madrasas. But in the state of Assam, things have become even worse, as the Indian government demolishes thousands of Muslim-owned homes, leaving upwards of 10 million people vulnerable to the next tsunami-sized humanitarian crisis.
এখন আর আমার স্বামী যদি বাড়ি করবেন না পাই আগে বিঠিক বিষ খেলামু তার বাদে নিজে বিষ খাইয়া মরুম
So in the name of NRC, in the name of de-voter, in the name of Bangladeshi, in the name of land policy, they're harassing the Muslims.
As a direct result of the Hindued for Zionist alliance, genocide against Muslims has never been more in vogue. These two cancerous ideologies are responsible for the two largest humanitarian crises on the planet. They must be stopped, and they will be stopped, because 2 billion Muslims have a new appreciation of how their collective economic, diplomatic and political power is bringing much needed pain to Israel and henceforth making the world a better place. But that's my time for today. Please remember to subscribe to this channel, and we kindly ask you please support our effort to expose and confront injustices in the Muslim world by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJWerleman. We can't produce, sustain and grow the show without your help, and we offer exclusive benefits to those who do. But for now, good night, good morning, wherever you are, and stay blessed.